What's up, people? I'm Halls and this is Defeat the Enemy, and today we're going to look at my top 10 games of E3. Number 10, Dragon Age Inquisition. Now, I bought Dragon Age 2 and it was awful. I couldn't stand the game. So I'm kind of a bit dubious about this one, but looking at the gameplay videos, it does look really good. So what I'm going to do is wait for reviews and what have you, but it's looking promising right now. Next up, number 9, Dead Island 2. All they gave us was a CGI trailer. We didn't get any gameplay or any real information, really, but it was an awesome CGI trailer. Definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it already. Number 8 is The Crew. Now, The Crew is a driving game where you've got basically a map of America. It's obviously much smaller than the real America. It's just like someone called it a greatest hits version of America, which is sounds pretty interesting. They had a gameplay trailer. You got to see all the different environments. Looked really cool. So I'm not really a driving game fan, so I don't really care about the driving side of things, but I do want to look around the map and basically explore that. So that game's looking pretty interesting. Next up was Far Cry 4, the open world first person shooter. This time they're going to the mountains of Nepal. I think they said it was Nepal, or it might have just been an undisclosed Nepal-like location. But anyway, I really like this setting. Like, having it on mountains makes it all kind of vertical, so it's going to be something actually different that's going to affect the gameplay rather than just different graphics. So I like the setting. The characters look interesting again. I mean, they were good in 3, so I imagine they'll be good in 4. But Ubisoft's open world games are always a bit bland for me. I find them a little dull. They look good, but they don't have a very good atmosphere. They're just a bit boring. Next up, number 6. I should have numbered these before I started talking. Number 6, Bloodborne. It looks like a Souls game, like Dark Souls, obviously from the same developer, From Software. So it looks kind of like a Souls game, but it seems to be more of a kind of beat 'em up or hack and slash, whatever you want to call it, rather than an RPG where you have different weapons and armor and stuff. This is just straight up focusing on the fighting, which sounds very interesting. I really like the setting as well. That looked really good. So next up, number 5, Dead Rising 3. Now, the trailers made it look crap. When it first came out on the Xbox One, the trailers made it look boring, rubbish, like they'd completely missed the point of what made the Dead Rising games good in the first place. But Let's Plays actually made the game look quite good. So, which is really the main thing, is sort of, when real people get their hands on it rather than marketers. So I'm kind of excited about it. Coming to PC, so looking forward to that. Number 4 is The Witcher 3. Now, I've been looking forward to this for a long time, ever since I played 2. 2 was fantastic, probably my favourite game. I'm actually less hyped about The Witcher 3 after E3 than I was before. They showed the combat. It didn't look as good as 2's. They got rid of the rolling, which is, I kind of liked just rolling around, doing somersaults, and then occasionally popping up and stabbing people. They've gone more for a Yakuza-style dodge. Hopefully that's like an unupgraded dodge, what they showed in the gameplay demo, and you can dodge, you do better dodging, as you play the game. But yeah, what we saw at E3 didn't look as good as 2, in my opinion. You've got the open world, so that should be good. Hopefully the combat, it feels good to play. That's the main thing, not how it looks. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, but slightly concerned having seen gameplay. Next up, number 3, Aliens Isolation. Now, I heard about this before E3. I wasn't really that interested. I'm not a fan of horror games. They don't really have that much gameplay. It's just like walking around looking at things, which doesn't really interest me. But this actually does look pretty good. The AI seems really impressive, so it's kind of you trying to outwit the computer, which seems kind of more interesting than just you walk down the corridor and someone jumps out at you. It's not that kind of horror game. It looks like you actually have to think about stuff. And the atmosphere looks great too. I think they've nailed the Alien 1 vibe. It looks just how it should do. So really looking forward to that one. Again though, the last Aliens game was shit and overhyped, so I'm not going to rush out and buy it on release day. Next up, number 2, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. I cannot wait for this game. I'm like so excited. It's ridiculous. Now, I don't give a shit about Lord of the Rings at all. The combat only looks okay. The world looks kind of dull, and from the maps they showed in the gameplay demo, it actually looks pretty small as well. But the star of the show is the Nemesis system. So basically, your enemies in the game are going to be randomly generated, and they have a power structure that you affect. So if you kill somebody, then another enemy gets stronger to take their place, and the enemies fight each other. There's a lot of infighting, and it all just seems very interesting, like a way to dynamically create an enemy organization. Sounds very interesting. To be honest, it looks like a complete game changer. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of these kind of games in the future. Now, this is only the first iteration of that Nemesis system, so it's probably going to have issues. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a bit messy here and there, I imagine, but the future potential is huge. I can't wait to get my hands on it and play around with the Nemesis system. It looks fantastic. Finally, number 1, the biggest game of E3 for me was No Man's Sky. Now, a lot of people are probably saying that, but this game looks fantastic. People have been talking about making a game where you walk around in first-person mode on a planet or a spaceship. Then you go jump into a spaceship and fly off into space seamlessly with no loading screens. People have been talking about that game for years, like decades even, but they've always said that the technology didn't exist. Well, now obviously the technology does exist. This is the game a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. It's finally coming. It looks absolutely amazing. It just came from nowhere, just exploded onto the gaming community or whatever. I say gaming community again, I just mean nerds with nerds on forums basically. Anyway, what am I talking about? Yes, this game looks absolutely amazing. I'm kind of concerned by the people making it. They're famous for Joe Danger games, which no interest whatsoever. But and it's kind of a small team, so hopefully it will turn out as good as it looks right now, because it looks absolutely amazing. And that was E3 2014 for me.